The commissioning process can be broken down into three distinct phases: pre-functional checks or installation checks, functional testing, and then performance testing. The way I like to think of them are as 3 C's of commissioning. First, you're checking the construction, then the components, and then the capacity. The first step is orientating yourself to the mechanical room, understanding, is this a return fan? Where do the dampers go? How are the systems put in place? Once we understand the components, then we could determine the right way to test. Let's take an air handler, for example. If we had to conduct an installation check on this, what would be the first thing we would look for? First, let's understand the make, model, nameplate, any information we can to give us the information about this unit. Then just ascertain the general condition. How old is it? Has it been maintained? What are the general operating conditions? Once we have that, then we could begin actual testing. As I mentioned with installation checks, we're verifying the construction of the unit. So things we'll look for: safing, insulation. How are the temperature sensors within the unit wired? Are they touching the coils? Are the filters doing their job? Is the safing around the coils properly sealing to prevent air from bypassing? How are the belts? What is the fan doing? Are the components within the unit installed in such a manner that no deficiencies exist? Another way to understand what's going on within the unit is to actually perform a little performance testing. Things like taking temperature readings or static pressure profiles across the unit can help ascertain the conditions of the system inside the unit. Things like a temperature at the mixed air plenum helps me understand my economizer mode. A temperature across a coil helps me understand the capacity of that piece of equipment. Pressure readings across filters or a fan or a coil also help me to understand the conditions inside. A high pressure across a filter bank or coil may indicate that there's some clogging or some fouling on that piece of equipment. That technical information, things we can get from test equipment, will help us identify if there's components inside that may require further attention. Besides looking for the obvious things like leaks or failed valves or improperly placed sensors, one thing we have to understand is, how is the unit being controlled? What are the temperature sensors controlling? Are they controlling the valves or the dampers? How are the fans controlled? Are there VFDs installed? What controls those VFDs? All those components, all those individual sensors need to be tested for calibration and verified for proper operation. A critical component of understanding the performance of an air handler, besides the temperature difference over the coil, is understanding how much total airflow or total volume of air is being provided by the unit. In order to do this, we first have to look at the source, the supply and the return fans, and understand how those are controlled. In this case, variable frequency drives control the fans. We first have to determine how these fans are controlled. Is it based on static pressure, or is it a constant volume system? These VFDs will be the key to understanding how much airflow is being provided. If the VFDs are pinned at a 90% or 100% position, it may be indicative that there are capacity issues down the road that we may need to address. If they're modulating based on actual supply temperature or static pressure, then we know they're functioning properly and true performance testing can be done.